This is our first broadcast tonight, coming to you from sunny California. I'm your host, Chris Yaklik, my co-host, Mike Corbet, and Justin Diaz. How you doing, guys?
Doing good.
Great, but I'm not French.
You're not French?
You French Canadians over there.
Hey, Mike, what was when we tried to use Google Now to look up Chris? What did it give us? Yet to lick? Something like that?
Chris, yet to lick.
You guys are making fun of me already. We're not even
No.
30 seconds
No.
in.
It was Google.
Google made fun of you.
Google
Not us.
making fun of me. I'm going to have a talk with that Google Now.
You might as well talk to Vic.
Exactly. So just to let everybody know, this is our Android headline show. AH show is we're going to be calling it. We're going to be covering news, rumors, talking about Android, nothing specific, having some fun, just sitting around chatting about the latest topics on Android. It's our first show, so bear with us a little bit. There might be a few mistakes here and there, but we'll try and improve on them as the weeks go on and have some fun. So Mike is our technical editor for our site.
Yep.
He's in charge of handling all of the reviews for telephones, smartphones, and tablets. And right now he's picking out on some jelly beans from the Google I/O. As you can see, some of them don't taste too good by the faces he's making.
That was popcorn.
Oh,
Popcorn's the best.
Popcorn.
Yeah, I just didn't expect it. I hoped it would be lemon.
And Justin, he's one of our writers. He writes big, long stories on our site, filling you in on the latest news. How you doing, Mike?
I'm better now.
How you doing, Justin?
Doing fantastic.
Awesome, guys. Now, you just got back from Google I/O. Well, not just, over a week ago. But we hadn't really had a chance to sit down and talk too much about it. So I was kind of wanted to pick your guys' brain. We got a chance to see a lot of the stuff over the internet, stuff being broadcasted. But this was your first time there, both of you. So what was it like? What was the experience like? Share with everybody what it was like, just to go there as a fan of Android.
I'll start, I guess. We hit the hotel first, and that was kind of interesting. One bed between two dudes. That didn't
That sounds like too much information already, Mike.
Turns out we were able to switch rooms. Let's see, where did we go after that? We went to the event, right?
We went to Moscone Center, so it was straight from the hotel to the conference.
Now, how big is
so
just so people get an idea? How big is the conference center that they have it in? We see it in pictures, but obviously firsthand.
It's gigantic.
Yeah, it's got 3 floors, and they're equally the same size. And I would say they're as big as a I don't know, 3 football, maybe 2 football fields placed side by side. Would you say?
I'd say that's about right. I mean, typically it reminded me of just like a high school, but stacked on top of each other. So you think like the first story of any normal high school, it's pretty big, right? So you take the first floor of that, and then you put another one the same size on top of it, and then a third one. Just it's monstrous. It was huge. It doesn't look that big, but then once you get into like the main conference room that they held the keynote speeches in,
yeah,
a lot of people.
And then you throw day one people in there. On day one, you throw like 2,000 people into that little area at 4 o'clock. That got pretty crazy. You really could figure out how big it was.
When you guys were doing registration, it must have been weird to be like surrounded with 5,000 Android fans.
It was pretty intense.
It actually wasn't all Android though. Let's see, who was in front of us? Nobody we knew was in front of us, but Wired was behind us, right? Or was that that was the keynote?
Well, that was the keynote the first day. Wired was behind us.
There was actually not that many people at the center, or figuratively.
But I mean, when you're in the conference center, just to be surrounded by all these
yeah,
and all these people talking Android, the buzz must have been like really intense. Just because you usually don't get a chance to hang around that many Android fans at once. So it must have been like really, almost like a rock concert for Android.
It was kind of funny because, yeah, there was a lot of people there that were for Android, but the keynote day one, there was a dude that sat in front of us, and he didn't even type about the keynote. He was barely paying attention to it.
He must have been there for Chrome.
He was on his laptop just, like, looking at stuff, and I was like, what are you doing, bro?
I saw that guy.
At one point,
he must have been covering it for some, like, automobile magazine or something.
yeah, really, like, he was there for some, like, music site or auto site, hoping there would be, like, an Android head unit radio or something. I know.
How were the conference center, like, or the conference rooms where they were doing their little talks about? How big were those? Were they fairly big?
Depends on the center or the room, but the smallest one we were in was the size of a huge classroom.
That's a lot of guys packed into one room.
Actually, the first one we went to was the Android one, right?
The first one we went to was right after the keynote speech.
And that was a big room.
What's new in Android? Yeah, and that was pretty big. I mean, there was about 300 or 400 people in it. I think just 300
people. It was
people.
half the size of the keynote.
Now we're pretty geeky, you know. We cover everything, obviously working on, you know, the site and covering all the news and stuff like that. Some of it though was pretty heavy on the code, though, eh?
Mm-hmm.
It was really focused on developers and a lot of the stuff that they could now do with the Android APIs and so on.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was kind of ironic because we stepped into that first room, what's new in Android, day one, right after the keynote, and they said, guys, we can't actually start until you move away from the doors. It's being a fire hazard. And then he steps up again. He goes, no, seriously, we need to move you away from the doors. It's a fire hazard. And he goes, in case you're wondering if we're going to give anything out, we're not. This is just an Android session. We're not giving anything out. It's nothing special. Please step away from the doors. If you really don't want to be here, we're not giving anything out. It's just code. You can leave if you'd like.
And
just a heads
400
up.
people left at the same time?
No, actually, quite a few people stayed, and Justin actually laughed because 25 people left and 30 people came in because they were like, oh, a spot.
Well, that's great.
Yeah,
So
it was pretty funny.
I think one of the problems that they were having last year is that they were having a lot of people just for the Android swag, you know, and I can understand. But I mean, I think they really wanted it to get, you know, people that wanted to be there, you know, to learn about Android and what was new and stuff like that versus the people that were just maybe there to get the latest and greatest devices. Now, did you guys get a sense that there were a few people there that were there just for that?
Absolutely. There were definitely some people that were there just for that didn't seem to care too much.
Well, like we said, that one guy in front of us, I don't know what website he wrote for, but... And then other people that got invited, we were at a session, and Rolling Stone magazine was there. Nothing against Rolling Stone, music-wise, but I don't know what they have to do with Android.
Well, they're turning into quite the tech site, from what I hear.
Are they? Do they have a tech section now? See, I didn't know that, but either way, it was kind of interesting.
I'm kidding.
Well, you never know. I mean, SB Nation
I would be surprised.
was a sports site, and they bought The Verge. Tech site.
I'd be surprised if they even put a small blurb about the show in the magazine. It might be somewhere back in the, you know, classified areas or something like that, you know, right next to the penis enlargement advertisements.
Oh, no.
Right back there. It's where it needs to be.
So you guys do, you know, you get all set up and you're doing keynote speech. What's the buzz like in the crowd when they're just about to go on stage? Is everyone like all pins and needles?
Everybody's crazy. I mean, I think it was really more hyped up. The second keynote felt like more energetic. You know, which is weird. They built up
a hype machine for sure. They had that countdown clock.
Yeah.
It was going, you know,
I got a video of that.
54 or something, and I happened to take a picture on zeros, all zeros. It was really cool.
Which is kind of surprising because the second day keynote wasn't as interesting as obviously the first day. At least for us. So maybe they needed a little more hype.
I don't think people knew what to expect day one. and so we weren't as excited.
So how was it when the show starts? Is it like being at a concert, hair on the back of your neck, standing up?
Well, you just never know what to expect. Vic came out, and we were like, hey, there's Vic. And, I was 7 rows from him, so it was like, hey, took a bunch of pictures and got some stuff. And what did he do? Just welcome us in, pretty much?
That's pretty much it. He spoke a little bit, but nothing too exciting. He passed it off pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think he went to Hugo at that point.
Now, I mean, we had heard lots about, obviously, Jelly Bean and the Nexus 7 tablets, so I don't think we were surprised at all.
Well, actually, if you go back and listen to our pre-show, which, doesn't do you a lot of good now to listen other than to prove that we were actually 100% right. We guessed everything that was going to be there in some way, shape, or form.
Hang on. I heard you were telling the rest of the other Android sites what was happening with...
Yeah. One guy, on Keynote Day 2, one guy turned to me and said, I believe he was from Talk Android or something. He turned to me and said, so what's going on today? And I'm like, oh, we're probably going to get a Chrome box. And he's like, huh, all right, cool, whatever. And on day zero when we were there, we had a good group of guys. And I was telling them, I think we're going to get a phone. And they all were like, no, we're not getting a phone. And I'm like, I think we're getting a phone. And they're like, no, I don't think so, dude.
We were pretty bang on with the swag that was going to be given out. And pretty well knew everything that was going to be announced at the show, so you guys weren't too surprised. It was just a matter of seeing it in person, really.
Yeah.
Now, when you seen, first we'll talk about Jelly Bean. We didn't get a chance to hear too much about it before. There was not a lot of leaks. We knew it was coming. We just didn't know what to expect. We didn't figure it was going to be too big. Were you blown away by it?
Kind of. I mean, not.
What were your initial thoughts when it came out? Were you like, this is what I thought it was going to be, or wow, how was your feeling? Was it a letdown, or was it like great?
What do you think, Justin? I'll let you talk.
I don't think it was a letdown at all. I was excited. I mean, there was a lot of improvements.
It would have been a letdown.
Huge improvements, I think, coming from somebody that was using, ROM builds from ICS, but the last stock version of Android I got my hands on was Gingerbread. So it just seemed like the changes that came from that to 4.1 to Jelly Bean was a huge improvement for me. I mean, the notifications is a huge part of my experience on the phone, and that improvement is immense, and the speed is probably the next thing I look at when I look at a device. And the usability, moving from app to app or notification bar to the home browser or your app drawer. I mean, everything's really fluid. It flows. It's nice. It's just an easy experience to use. There's no lag. I mean, it blows me away. Everything looks really streamlined. Everything's beautiful. It's they don't call it Project Butter for nothing. It's buttery smooth.
I've heard even the SDK ports are that smooth and that buttery.
So you guys have had a chance to play around with it now. What's your favorite part of Jelly Bean?
Google Now.
Google
Yes.
Now?
Easy.
Hey, now, obviously, a lot of guys at home, obviously, they're reading about it and stuff like that, and they've got some ideas on how it works. Give us some, a little idea of how it's worked for you.
Let me. Can I do a demonstration?
Yeah,
can we do this?
For sure.
Let's do a demo. Okay. So
while you load that up, I'm just gonna say every day at 1 o'clock it lets me know that my traffic to work is gonna be X amount of minutes, X amount of minutes this day, X amount of minutes this day, and it seems like depending on the route I take, one day it judges where I'm gonna go next day. It just knows, and it's really cool because it's like, oh cool. I know that I can stop for something at a grocery store real quick then if it's only going to take 10 minutes today.
Do you find it spooky though?
It's spooky, but
a little bit that that it's
what
doing all this stuff.
Yeah, it's one of those things. It's like
It's all obviously cool, but I'm saying
Everyone
it kind of
wanted it.
freaked you a little bit that it works that well almost.
Everyone watches Minority Report and everything, and they want it stuff like Minority Report and everything, and now it's here.
Yeah,
I'm sure people are kind of like, what?
It's crazy. It's super futuristic.
Why don't you give us a little demonstration there?
This is how accurate to me that it works. It's nuts. I mean, I've been stumbling upon a couple of other questions, that just randomly ask it, and it actually gives you the answers. And
oh yeah,
I think it's hysterical. So here's the tablet.
That's your Nexus 7 that you got from Google I/O.
What wallpaper you got there?
Got the
it went away.
It's a little hard to do. So here's the Google Now, I believe.
Yeah, you swipe up and it's now, so you're there.
There it goes. So here it is, Google Now. I'm going to do a little mic demonstration here and ask it a question.
I thought you meant a me demonstration.
How many movies has Johnny Depp been in? Oh, well, see, it didn't work then. Son of a bitch.
Yeah, it seems like it's
It's got a little stage fright, I think.
I think it's temperamental sometimes. Like sometimes
it's definitely
direct
temperamental.
You to the Google results, and other times it'll direct you to a card.
Well, basically what happened is we asked how many, just random questions. We asked it how many movies Johnny Depp's been in. And it started listing off the most recent movies that he'd been in. It literally is reading them off in a list. I mean, as something as trivial and weird as that, totally random, but it's giving you the answers. This time it gave me the search results, but it gave me the correct speech last time, which I thought was hysterical because, not really the important information for it to be talking to you with, but hey, it knows it, it gives it to you. It handles most words pretty well. The voice itself is a huge improvement I've noticed in when I need to send a text. I've been sending text via voice like crazy. You just say text or send text to so-and-so, and then you start speaking the message right afterwards, and it pops it all up, word by word, no mistakes, hit send.
Really? So the voice recognition is that good? Because that's always been a problem when I've used that voice recognition software, is that it has a hard time understanding. Now, it could just be my Canadian accent or something like that.
It's not that it understands, but it knows what you meant to say.
Yeah.
So, like, I typed in I said how much does Triple H weigh? Triple H is a wrestler. But it said, how much does Triple H weigh? W-A-Y. But it knew what I meant, and so it told me how much he weighed. Even though it's still spelled out W-A-Y, it still knew what I meant. I'm going to try to do one that I saw earlier.
Let's not try to make.
Who is the cast of The Big Bang Theory? Bam!
Amazing.
So it lists them all off. There it goes. It lists off all the cast, all of it, and shows a picture. It's just cool. I mean, when I get this on my Nexus S4G, it's going to be very impressive because I'll be able to follow sports teams. I'll be able to follow just different stuff. I told them I wanted to. I messaged somebody and told them I wanted them to add wrestling statistics or to follow a wrestling match just like it follows basketball matches. Because if I ask in the middle of a basketball game, who is winning out of the Jazz and the Lakers, it will tell me the score at that very moment, and then when the game finishes, it will tell me the final score, the score of each quarter. I think it even goes on to say like things like who scored more points, stuff like that.
Wow.
Like, what? And so that's
extremely intuitive.
It's sounding pretty cool. I can't wait to get my hands on it myself after the hype that I've read about it, and definitely sounds like it's a lot better than the Siri clones that we've seen on the market that barely even can recognize what you're saying to them, half of them.
A lot of them use a version of voice actions, which is the Google voice search, which sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Are they able to pull up apps and stuff like that as well too?
I don't know.
I haven't tried.
It
don't
does.
know what you would say to it.
It'll execute things. Like if I say play Johnny Cash, it would do it.
How about play Angry Birds?
Okay, let's try. Play Angry Birds. No. Open Angry Birds. Nope.
Do you even have Angry Birds installed?
Yeah, I have 3 versions. I have 2 versions of Angry Birds. No, 3.
Obviously, that'll be coming in the future.
Yeah, actually, I talked. This is a good time to segue into this as ever. I was getting a shirt from, let's see, what booth was it? Open Engine, the App Engine booth. And it was a blue shirt, and I turned around, and Matt Cutts was standing there behind me. And I was like, hey, how's it going? And he's like, hi. And I pointed down at my shirt, because I was wearing the Android Headlines shirt. And I'm like, yeah, I write for Android Headlines, Mike. And he's like, oh, cool. And he's like, I've heard of you guys. And I was like, okay, that's really cool. And I'm like, yeah, you've heard of us then, huh? He's like, oh, yeah, I read your site all the time, which, again, really cool. But I said, why didn't we see much of you on stage? And he said, you did. It was just in form of the tablet, because I worked on all the search stuff with it, or a lot of the search stuff with it.
Matt was involved in that. That's very cool.
Yeah, his team worked on the Google Now a lot. It sounds like Google Now is actually a giant project for every team. But I asked him, so why can't I ask about a soccer match that's happening in Europe today? And he's like, well, we just haven't got there yet. And I said, but it will be then. It will be coming in the future. And he's like, yeah, it'll definitely be coming in the future. Today is obviously more of the future because Android 4.1.1 dropped today. So hopefully we'll be seeing a bit more improvements in Google Now with that. More things it can recognize, hopefully, and hopefully it doesn't take things away that it'll recognize. But he definitely told me there would be more coming in the future. So who knows, maybe after we get 4.1.1 we should try some things that didn't work in the past.
Well, I'm sure that the team will be continuously improving on the application or Google Now, as you call it. And we're going to be seeing lots of stuff with this. And this is going to be a great product for years to come with all types of integration, I imagine, through all Google products. They have so much stuff going on with Google that, it's endless possibilities.
Yeah.
And you guys are just starting to get the hang of it now. Is it truly that it gets to know you better, it gets a little smarter? Have you seen any of that, Justin?
Yeah, it pops up my weather stuff every once in a while. I do a lot of weather searches, and I look weather up pretty often. And just today actually, it's been. I think I did away with the notification. Maybe not. Maybe you can see it, but it's got weather right up here. That you can see the notification. Maybe it's got the weather stuff. It pops those up every once in a while. The other day it popped up something about traffic and places to eat because I was searching for food.
That's not an app you installed. That's just in the notification bar.
It popped it up there, and then when I hit it, it went into Now. But it throws them up into notifications, I think. So it's a super strange thing to see. Because when I hit the weather, it took me into Google Now. So it pops up the notifications, and when you tap them, it'll take you to Now, where the cards and stuff are. So it's pretty cool. They notify you when, just randomly. I mean, I was at work, and I got a notification about food because I looked for food just the day before. So it's strange. I don't know. It knows you, and it's really weird, but at the same time, it's really cool.
Yeah, I searched for something about the train here because a woman at work wanted to know about the train. And I came home and it was like, hey, remember that train station you searched for? Yeah, it's only about 20 minutes from where you are right now if you wanted to go there. I'm like, oh, I don't want to go there, but thank you.
Little late, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if I would have had Google Now on my phone, because this was on my tablet, I don't know when it popped up. If I would have had Google 4.1 on my phone, which tomorrow I might, I was hoping, source would have hit a little sooner today, 'cause I could have got it on today, but.
Well, it sounds like this thing is it's impressing you guys more and more you use it. So looks like it's going to be a great product, and I think we're going to see a lot of updates to it. Now, is that installed right on the ROM, or is there like kind of an app involved on the phone?
It's just there.
It's definitely like I predicted. It's built into the framework.
Okay, so we're going to see. So we're going to have to wait for OS updates to see any more improvements possibly out of this, or small updates before.
Well, maybe. I mean, I guess there's APKs in it, but it definitely is built into the framework. So I mean, they pulled the Google search APK and put that on ICS phones, but Google Voice didn't work, and the cards didn't work, all of them, because some of them use different parts of your Google account and things.
So how about we'll go over here just a few other quick little things. What about the notification system? What do you guys think of that?
I think it's pretty cool.
I'll let you take most of this, Justin, because I don't have it on my phone, so I don't get nearly
the notifications as much. It's nice. I haven't seen as many of the notifications where you can drop them down and extend them. I've gotten a couple of times when I get a notification from you guys, the Android headlines or whatever, Mike. A couple of times I'll see posts that you put on Google Plus. I'll notice that the notification has, a drop down from a photo link or something like that. And I got a picture message a couple days ago. My my brother just had a baby, about a month ago, and they've been sending me pictures of that, of their new son. So I got to drag her text down and see the photo and the notification drop. And then I could flick it back up, and it would move back again to just the notification. But I've only seen a couple, so that's kind of cool to see, because that's obviously a huge difference from notifications from any previous. But it's not happened as much. For me, the notifications, I'm not noticing any new stuff as of yet. I'm just noticing that they look better. They're just easier to interact with, and everything just kind of seems like it. I don't know, is nicer looking. But
it looks like there's a little bit more information on the notifications as well. There
are actually a little bit more notification information, yes.
You can read a whole Google Plus post if it has a picture involved, and then reply right from, or no, I guess you can share. I don't know if you can reply from it.
You should be able to reply.
You can reply to a text, and you can call back from a notification as well.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. Looks great. I can't wait to play with it as well. Now, on your phone, I don't know, the tablets, you guys been playing with the resizable widgets?
Yes, a little bit. Kind of cool.
Yeah, but that was in ICS too. So,
but
I've been more playing with the
different screens right now.
Yeah, I've been playing with more moving. The widgets and the apps moving themselves instead of me having to do it. It finds space on the screen instead of you finding space on the screen.
Which is always nice, because sometimes it wouldn't fit on there, then you had to go back and do it, pick the right screen and everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Now also there's supposed to be better full screen modes, higher resolution contact photos. Are those things that stand out a lot on it?
Yeah.
A little. I mean, the contact photos I'm not used to seeing very much at all, so I'm not noticing a difference between
and
what was there before.
Because of my phone. So.
Now, did you guys play with Beam? You have the Nexus. Both of you have the Nexus 7.
Yeah.
Tablets. Were you guys beaming a little bit? Crossing swords or?
Just a little bit.
Play with that Easter egg. I mean, we found that, and
we found an Easter egg.
I've been playing with a buddy of mine, has a Galaxy Nexus here in town, and we've been, beaming a little bit back and forth. Mostly, I've just been, I mean, it's not directly related to Android Beam itself, but I've been using the Google Wallet the last few days, testing that out, seeing how that works, and it's pretty cool. There's the Easter egg.
There's also supposed to be some audio improvements on there. I don't know. Do you guys hear anything?
I mean, the tablet's loud as it is, so I'm not gonna. I don't notice a whole lot, just because of how loud the tablet is anyway. It's just, I mean, the whole back right there is a speaker.
Yeah.
And so it's just loud. I mean, you
Well,
get
that's
a
good,
lot.
'cause some of them have been, some of the tablets are
Yeah, I mean, I can speak.
bad speakers.
I can speak for that as the reviewer here. I mean, I get some things that I can barely even hear, and I'm just like, really? I mean, why would you even put out this product if I can't hear it?
I know, it's like, my tablet, I think my Galaxy Tab, I was watching some YouTube videos, and I had to put the thing like this, my tablet right to my ear just to hear it, and it's like, that's sad. Like, could you put a $7 speaker in instead of a $3 speaker?
Are you seeing that?
We got it checked out. What are we looking at here?
It's moving
It's moving?
based on where I want the widget put.
Okay.
So it decides what. And then the cool thing I noticed is when I was talking to Matias Duarte, the lead designer of Android, I went to move it to the trash bin, and he goes, he takes my tablet from me, and goes, what are you doing?
From you? Was he trying to steal it?
He goes, what are you doing? You just flick it away, and it went away. And I was like, oh.
That's
Okay.
a Wild West thing there, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of.
I wonder where he got that idea from.
I have no idea. I mean, honestly.
So you had a chance to sit down with him for a while.
Yeah, we talked. It's pretty cool.
You talk like he's your best friend.
We're buddies. He's not really Justin's best friend or anything.
Yeah, he's a jerk.
Why is he a jerk? You
He
can't.
wasn't really a jerk. He was
He
a
was
nice
very
guy.
busy.
He was a busy guy. We'll say that.
He was too busy for you, but he had enough time for Mike.
I said,
Mike came up
can you
first.
take a picture of me? And he
What's
said, with me. I asked him if he could take a picture with me and him, and he said yes. And then I said, and then my friend, coworker Justin here, and he goes, yeah, I can get both of you. And then all of a sudden, a Google representative came up behind us and was like, oh, these girls want to meet you. And they were foreign, and I guess there was 3 girls and a guy or something. I think they were Japanese. And he was like, oh, okay. And so they kind of like side-swiped us, and Justin was just kind of left there standing. Just kind of like, hey, and then he just
I would have
talked to
snubbed you
them.
too, Justin, if it was a couple of girls that wanted to talk to me. So
I would have done the same thing. I can't really fault him for that.
So it was pretty,
Like, you know what? More
pretty
important.
ironic.
So overall, the Jelly Bean, pretty impressive.
I'm liking it a lot.
It's a small update with meaningful things within it.
Now, was there some stuff on there maybe you would have liked to have seen that we didn't see? You know, that's always the taboo kind of.
It's hard to predict. I mean, it's kind of like we were saying. It's hard to predict what we were even going to see. So I didn't really.
Is there something you wish they would have put on there now, Mike?
I'm sure there is, but I can't think of it. I'm sure I've been talking to somebody and been like, oh yeah, I wish they would have done this, but there's not a lot.
You know, in all honesty, I think they did a pretty good job with Jelly Bean. We weren't expecting much at all, just a small update. Most of the stuff we were going to think was going to be under the hood. There wasn't huge UI changes or nothing, but I think there was enough to keep the avid Android fan happy. We've seen lesser updates before, and I think that we're pleasantly surprised with what came out of it. How was the new Google movies and TV shows? Have you guys had a chance to watch those or play with them?
Justin has.
Yeah, I've been watching movies like crazy, thanks to that Play Store balance they gave us.
Yeah. If you pre-order the tablet right now still, you get a $25 credit. And so we've been using the crap out of that.
Mine's gone. It was gone a week ago.
I think I've still got $10 left.
Yeah, I used it up. I've been playing with a lot with them, and been throwing them up on the Q, which I've been streaming to my huge monitor so I could watch them on that.
That's another subject, the Q.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Let's get to that after, but let's hit up your Nexus 7 there. You've kind of touched on it now, but this is their flagship $199 device that everyone was waiting for. Google's not making much profit on this thing. Was it everything that we were building up for to you
Yes.
guys?
Easily, yes.
How about you, Justin? What's your feeling on the Nexus 7? You loving it?
Yeah, man, it's an awesome tablet. At first I was kind of thinking, why didn't they throw in a back camera? Why didn't they do this? But the more that I've been using it this past week, I'm thinking it's a great tablet. I'm a huge gamer, and so for me, any test of a piece of equipment is how is it going to handle games. As a core gamer and being able to play like ones that are really in depth and have a lot of story or backlog to it, it's just kind of like, how is it going to handle this? The graphics are supposed to be phenomenal. Can the tablet, run efficiently and still be able to get, notifications or anything else while still playing this game and not having it lag down or force close or anything else? And it's been handling things flawlessly.
Mm-hmm.
It's crazy. So I'm liking it a lot. They did a really good job with everything, and I think $200 is a great price point for everything that it's got.
Have you been able to put a game on there that maybe pushes it a little bit yet? Is there one out there?
Oh yeah. Mike, you can take this one.
Every single game that we've put on there, it should test the limits. Let's see. Justin told me, and after I asked him, he told me to download Samurai 2, Shadowgun, and let's see, what was the other one? Dead Trigger, and every single one of those games is just smooth. I've also got GTA 3, the 10-year anniversary edition on there, and that runs really nice.
Have you had any been able to make it stutter yet? Is there anything that
GTA 3 stutters, but to be fair, it's also not been upgraded for the Nexus 7.
Yeah, well,
And the other games like Dead Trigger doesn't stutter at all because it was built for the Nexus 7. They've got a specific Tegra version of that game. So Dead Trigger is definitely more graphically impressive and more powerful and demanding on the device, and I didn't have a problem with Dead Trigger at all.
Now, that GTA, who is that? Is that EA again?
Yeah, EA put out.
EA likes
Rockstar.
update.
Yeah, Rockstar and EA. It's partially EA, I believe.
They like to update their games about every 6 months.
I could be wrong.
And so many devices that they don't work properly on. I guess we can't really blame the tablet for that. Now, how is the screen quality, the picture quality on it? Now, a couple of guys have said they had a few little issues with theirs, few rumors out there, but how's it performing for you guys?
I'm not noticing any of the ghosting myself. That's what I read, is that there were some ghost problems, but
so maybe we got lucky.
I mean, I'm notorious for leaving my display on all the time, and that's why my battery dies. And another thing, that's getting into that. My battery lasts a long time.
Long time?
Just sitting still. Even if it's just sitting still, like mine wasn't on the charger, and we were asked to make sure they were good by you. And I didn't leave it on the charger at all today. And I got back and I thought, oh no, it's going to be dead. I'm going to have it connected to a cable. It's still 95% battery, it looks like. And I left it off the charger for 15 hours today, probably.
So these things are lasting the whole day, technically, then?
Pretty easily.
Yeah, on standby time, they last a good amount of time.
Oh, and I've got Grand Theft Auto running in the background, too. Like, it's paused going on right now.
Now, one thing I kind of wanted to ask you guys, there's two things there that I wasn't too sure about. On the UI there, you got some of those big buttons on the front. How are you liking those? Because obviously in the ICS we had more of a sleeker tablet.
Those right there?
Yeah, those ones right there.
Those aren't a problem.
Show me again there. Let me see that again.
I've got monster hands, so maybe it's not that big of a deal at all. But
let's see those icons again.
They're pretty much the same size as the Galaxy Nexus buttons.
Now, do you think the ICS menu system would have been too small for that tablet?
We were told that it didn't work for the 7-inch tablet by Matthias. We asked why the drop-down thing, why not go with the Transformer Prime or the the Zoom UI where it's got the the thing from the bottom, and you just said it just wouldn't have worked. The resolution, the DPI.
Sounds like we're going to see that on the CyanogenMod mod.
Well, you can get it right now if you want to. You just adjust. Turns out if you adjust the DPI, it will automatically take you to tablet mode.
Wow. Okay.
So all you have to do is download an app, LCD display changer or something.
You think the guys did that because maybe it's going to appeal more to the masses, those type of buttons?
Yeah.
Like to the average consumer, not the hardcore Android consumer?
Yeah, I think that's the problem with the tablet UI they have, is it's more of a tech-based geek thing.
You got to delve. You got to know what you're doing on an ICS tablet. You know.
Yeah, because I mean, in ICS, if you press the button down there, and it would well, I'm pressing that button. But if you touch that settings button that used to be down there on big 10-inch tablets, I mean, if you didn't know what it did, you wouldn't know where it was immediately.
Now, the other thing I want to talk to you is, a few little things. How's the storage? And I'll ask this to you, Justin, because you're the game guy, and you probably got that thing loaded down with all kinds of big ass games on there. How are you doing with storage on it already?
Storage could be. Storage is my only. I will say my only. I don't even like to call it a gripe, but it's my only discontentness with it. Is that the storage could be better, but it's not my main tablet, so I'm not having too many problems with being able to move a game over to a different tablet to use, or just play one through and then swap them out and get a different one. I've got a few on here.
You definitely would recommend the 16 gigabyte version to people who are buying them then?
If you're gonna be buying a game or a tablet if you're buying this for games, which you definitely should. It's great for it. Get the 16 gig. It's definitely a recommendation because it just has more storage space. You can do without, but it's always better to have more, in my opinion. Better to have it and not need it than to need it and not have it. So, yeah.
Well, that was the one thing that kind of blew my mind. That first of all, the 8 gigabyte tablet. Who makes 8 gigabyte tablets? I mean. Yeah. Unless you're a knockoff from China or something like that, 8 gigabyte tablet is like, wow, I've never seen one that small, because now we're starting to see games are getting bigger and bigger, apps are getting bigger and bigger, and if you want to keep this tablet around for a while, 8 gigabytes could get filled pretty quickly, and we do have a lot of cloud-based stuff nowadays, but still, 8 gigabytes can go pretty quick. I remember on my 16 gigabyte tab, I was starting to, micromanage my applications, what I was putting on there, if I really didn't need it or not. Do you think that this could sway some people from potentially buying it? I've heard a few grumblings out there about it. No?
Not at all. I mean, 16 gigs is enough.
I actually get this a lot. I'll either ask on my own page or our Android headlines page on Google+. I'll say, what's up with the Android tablet, or what do you think of the Android tablet and the new Nexus 7? And, not enough space. I'm like, oh, all right, well, that sucks. And then they'll get to, the point where they're, almost, mad at me or something about it. And it's just, arguing with me. I'm like, fine, just don't get one. No big deal. And they're like, no, I already pre-ordered one. Okay.
Stop complaining.
Why do we have this mini argument if you've already pre-ordered one and it's not that big of a deal?
It's a gripe, and it's not going to hold them from buying it, but it's something that they would have wished they would have maybe addressed more. Because, I understand cost-wise, but how much would it have cost them actually to have put
about $20
a micro SD card, reader?
Oh, actually, probably a lot because of how thin it is. You'd have to bulk it up just a little bit more to put an SD card slot in there.
So if they would have just went to the 16 gigabyte, I think as
even going up to a 32 gig is the biggest.
Maybe even made a 64 gigabyte available as well too. So
Who's to say they won't?
Jump for that.
Who's to say they won't?
That probably will come in the 10-inch version.
Or just another 7-inch version a couple months down the line, come Christmas, we could see something like that. Not that I know anything, but
sure, Mike,
it's possible.
All right.
On the other hand, but you think about it from a logical thing, from this logical idea. My parents, 8 gig is plenty. My mom will use it for books or streaming movies. My dad would probably use it for the same thing. For the hardcore user, I found out today there's something called USB to go, and you can connect your cable that came with it, your USB cable, and if you have a female end on here, you can plug a USB drive into it, and you can use this end to plug to the tablet, and it uses it as another storage unit. So you can keep like 8 to 10 movies on a 16 gig SD card, or not SD card, but USB flash drive, and carry that around with you as long as you've got your cable.
But I think
you've got 16 extra gigs.
I think what Google wanted, though, was for you to go and buy the movies on their Play Store instead of carrying.
Most likely, and that way they're on the cloud.
Exactly, they want it on cloud, and that's probably why some of the storage is lower. They want you to keep your music on Google Music, and have your videos and your TV shows over there and everything like that. Now, if they could just store the apps in cloud for us, it'd be perfect.
I'm sure.
That'll be next year, right?
I'm sure it's coming.
That could be a 5.0 feature, and the Nexus 7 tablet will probably still be very relevant at that point. It may not be the Keynote feature, but...
In all fairness, too, I think, this is obviously a direct product to compete with Amazon's Kindle Fire. And a lot of those people there, they're not going to be loading it down with tons of apps and so on like that. And the hardcore Android users, they're going to find their ways around it and be able to, not have issues. So, now I want to get to you guys about this Nexus Q. I'll have to be honest with you. I haven't read a whole lot about it. I'm sure it could be a great product, but it didn't really catch my attention a whole lot. And I'm glad you two guys got it, because I probably would have left it in the box, to be honest with you. It was just something that didn't really catch my attention. It kind of looked like a ball to me, and I was like, what's
a 2-pound ball?
Hey?
A 2-pound ball.
A 2-pound ball. That's what
Heavy.
It looked like,
2.03 pounds, yeah.
It's like a weight.
You could gain some muscle with it, if anything.
It would probably be the most expensive paperweight in my house.
That's exactly what it could serve as, too, because it's got that flat bottom.
Yeah, and when I first seen them announce this, I was like, okay, what the hell is this? And they started talking about it, and I was still confused as to what it was.
Well, they didn't make it clear that it wasn't competing with Sonos. It's kind of something different. And,
okay, for the people at home, what the hell is the Nexus Q? Because I think unless you really read up about it, what is it? What does it do? How do you use it? Give us a quick synopsis on this thing.
It's a social media streaming device.
Well, that's
what they told us.
Perfect, but how the hell do you use it? Like, real words, what is it? That's the Google title. I want the real title. What is it? Is it a freaking music player? Is it a round MP3 ball?
No.
It's a movie and music. Think of it like a movie and music hard drive, kinda. It's movies and music in the cloud, streaming to your TV or your monitor, and you control it all from the tablet or the phone or whatever device has got the app. So,
whatever device is running the Nexus Q app is not streaming from the device. It's streaming from the cloud because the Q has Wi-Fi and Ethernet.
So
correct.
It's got your movies and your music from the cloud on it and streaming it to the TV.
Correct.
Sort of.
Sort of. Couldn't we just do that with a phone with like an HDMI cable?
Not as efficiently, I'm going to be honest. I've tried it.
Yeah, it's actually been really nice.
It has. Okay, well, tell me how you guys are using it.
I'm still not using it the way they want me to because they aren't letting me.
How do they want you to use it, Mike? How are you using it?
No offense to those folks on the stage, but they had 2 older gentlemen, and then a middle-aged gentleman on the stage, and they were choosing their favorite songs from a Jelly Bean device to play, and then each one had their own Jelly Bean device that they were selecting songs from and adding to a queue, as in Queue, on the queue, which is the letter. And they were like, oh, this is such a good song. Yeah, I like this song.
And they were pretty bad songs, if I remember correctly.
I don't even remember what they were. I just was trying to figure out what it was and what it did.
A little bit, in like our generation or something.
And then, however, going to the Nexus Q app, which, only 6,000 people know exists right now.
There's a Nexus Q app?
Yeah.
Wow.
You can download to any Android phone with Jelly Bean. Even though on the market it says you can download it to any phone gingerbread or higher. That's not true right now. We have to wait for the official launch of the product before it will actually let us use the app on any device.
So now I've heard you can. They're starting to hack this thing already. Some guys are starting to get apps running on them. Where do you guys see this thing going? From what you've been using it, or what you think the potential is. Where do you see it going? Because right now, kind of like an expensive media streamer to me.
Very expensive.
Where do you see it going?
You
guys are stumbling a little bit on there.
I see the capability, and I see the potential in it. I definitely do see some potential with being able to stream your apps to the TV, over Wi-Fi, which would be pretty cool. I mean, right now it's, I
have a WD TV at home. I do that with that cost me $69.
Yeah, you have a what now?
WD TV, Western Digital TV. I stream it wireless to my TV.
That's all well and good, but does it play can you stream your Angry Birds to that WD?
No.
No, you can't.
There's probably Angry Birds somewhere on there.
Yeah, I mean the potential is that I could be playing. I mean, it would use. I guess in a perfect world, it would use the tablet as a controller, so to speak. Basically, it could run like what was that called? Project Tablet or whatever the heck Windows was using.
Could it have the potential to be
Xbox
like
360?
A Google TV device? Could they integrate it into that?
No, it could be more than that. It could be more. It could be that, but it could be much more than that. I mean, all it would take is for them to hack the UI from Google TV, and it would be a Google TV.
Do you think we're going to see those XDA guys get in there and do some crazy stuff with this?
Yep. That's easy.
I mean, they're already starting.
It's done.
What are we starting to see already, Justin?
I mean, 24 hours after the launch. I mean, so last week, the day after the announcement, there was a guy that just got ready to open an app. So I mean, he hacked it and it was ready. It didn't play the app, but it was open. I just read today. It was either yesterday or today that somebody from XDA got it to stream lots of games and apps, and so he was having them open. They were working. Netflix. I watched a whole long video on this guy's running Netflix through the queue on his TV, on a big old 47-inch TV. So it's basically just takes a little bit of hack work to it. I mean,
yeah, the hack he's done to it right now is more for his sake, and it's kind of done dirty. But he could easily probably write not easily. In the future, a script can probably be written that would do it all. It would be a one-touch thing that would just hack the queue.
Yeah.
Or an APK or something that could be done. I'm trying to remember what that Microsoft Xbox 360 thing was. They're going to be launching something where you can use any tablet, Android, iPhone, or Android, Apple, or Windows.
Smart glass?
Smart glass, yes. The Q has a potential of being a smart glass type thing, like pretty easily. Well, it may not be so in depth, but it definitely could be.
So it sounds like there's lots of potential there. It's They kind of released it, I don't know, maybe a little bit early or something like that, where it's got a whole bunch of other possibilities, but they threw it out with just kind of the basics right now, and we'll see what the development community
It's an
comes up with.
experiment.
It's an experiment. How do you think it's going to go, Mike? What's your opinion on Nexus Q? Because, I mean, the price is kind of a little weird for me. You know, the $299 thing I thought was a little bit much.
If they make it easy enough and they put the apps in the App Store that people create, or however they end up doing them, if they're not App Store doable, or if they're going to do like a code lab where they'll integrate whatever somebody hacked into it, it'll eventually be worth $299. Right now, I've already written a write-up, and I don't feel like it's worth $299 right now.
You think we're going to see a price drop on this pretty soon?
No.
I can imagine they're flying off the shelves at $299.
No, it's not gonna drop in price at all, because, like I said, if they do indeed do some kind of code lab where they integrate things that people hack onto it and invent onto it, it'll pretty easily be worth $299 in 6 to 8 months, I imagine. Whereas if people just don't care and they drop it and they just stop using it and stop hacking on it, then I don't think there'll be a price drop at all. I just think it'll disappear from the Play Store one day, and that'll be the end of it.
So the jury's still out on the Nexus Q. We'll see what the development community is either going to make or break this product then.
That's exactly what it is.
Well, let's move on to one other thing here, and I know Mike's going to get totally excited.
What?
What could it be, Mike? What could it be?
The Chromebox?
No.
Oh, Project Glass. I don't know. I mean, I'm semi-excited.
You're semi-excited?
I've lost a little interest since it hit $1,500 for development.
Well, that's just for the development one. And you know who, and in all fairness, you know who that's going to? That's going to the big programming companies, porn industry, you know, whoever is going to really use these glasses for big-time development, maybe, you know, GPS navigation.
Cool.
Guys who
I also imagine the 1,500.
They're going to be making big bucks on it. That's who's going to be spending that cash on it.
I actually imagine the 1,500 too probably comes with a few more perks. Like, I kind of wonder if you get more Google support.
I think what's his face there brings over the guys that jump out of the
Plane,
the plane, and the bicycle riders, and everything like that. You get that included with $1,500.
Maybe you get your own. Every time you put them on, you just get some guys jumping out of a blimp.
That's right. Free skydiving,
like you're skydiving yourself.
Extreme mountain biking included. No, I'm sure that also includes, you know, a free update to the new glasses when they come out. First props on it, a lot of feedback as well too.
Yeah, I'm sure they take your feedback very personally and very intentfully, and I wouldn't be surprised if you didn't get, you know, emails to the Project Glass team, as long as you're under some sort of an NDA that you won't share them and things.
Did they happen to say how many of them exactly they were popping out at that $1,500 price point?
No one. I know that I had 3 people that I talked to that said they badly wanted it, and I don't know how many of them actually got it.
Well, we talked to that one guy, Mike, in the press lounge. He was number like 900 something.
Well, that's true. There were that many people, and they said we want serious people that were ordering them. We don't want. I mean, if you can always change your mind, but we are going to make a unit for you, so please don't.
So I imagine the kids that were there for the free swag weren't getting these.
No.
Well, I mean, the thing is, you didn't have to pay on the spot.
Oh.
I could have
had a Google Wallet payment plan.
I could have got one, and then you have to, when they come out, you have to throw out the $1,500 right then. So if you're willing to save for 8 months, which I thought about it, but not being a developer, I probably wouldn't have found much use in them.
Well, I would imagine a lot of the tech sites. Oh shit, we're a tech site. They were probably coughing up some money for them, but you know, it's so early in the project.
I really don't know. I didn't hear any tech sites that. I mean, you think they would have wrote an article saying, "Hey, blah blah blah.com, we got one coming our way."
Buying one, yeah.
I don't think anybody bought one from any other sites. I mean, maybe The Verge bought one, maybe Engadget bought one, but you know, they're under giant corporations that probably were like, yeah, we can see why you'd want one of those. We'll throw down the money.
We're so far away from, you know, their, what did they say, 2014 spring?
2014, and that's not even a full release. That'll probably still be like a beta.
Yeah, I mean, we're so far off of that. No, I still get the feeling, and, you know, I know you guys were all amazed there, and, you know, it was, you know, great show and everything like that. They didn't really delve into too much of the features on it, other than that big extreme show.
Well, there was a video about a mom and a baby, and how she talked about how much easier it was, which I can see that being one feature of it. I think I personally would use it for a everyday photo blog.
Mike, you'd live in those things. You'd be like showering, you know, at work with those things. You'd be live with.
I just know, yeah, for sure. I would do it from work a lot. But one of the things I think is handy about it is like a photo blog. I mean, there's been so many times when I've seen something, and my phone has been in my pocket, and by the time I reach out and grab it from my pocket, whatever it is gone.
Well,
whether it be a bear or there was a rampant cougar throughout the city, or even if it's just the sunset. Sometimes you just get that right picture of the sunset, and it's that make or break moment, and you have an amazing picture.
Mike, you sound like the guys that were doing the commercials.
Project Glass.
Make or break moment.
It's going to revolutionize the world of porn. That's all it's out there for.
I actually think it could do well for movies, too. Regular movies as well.
No, I mean, it has a lot of potential.
When you get that first-person angle, imagine how many guys have tried to get in, even with their, what was that camera, the Red? Something Red. There's a camera called Red, Scarlet Red or something. And it's just, they've been filming parts of The Hobbit with it. But even at that, you still get this angle. The guy holding the camera, he still doesn't get a full angle. I mean, just imagine seeing through. I mean, it would definitely be a very, very expensive production model to put a nice, huge, or hefty camera on there and a processing power and everything to do a fancy movie at the quality they'd want it to be. But you know, you really just get that angle you want. You could stand right in between two people and get an excellent footage or something like that. I started thinking about that the other day. Well, I'm sure I wouldn't use it, but
with the power of cloud and, you know, and the smaller processors and the better processors, it's basically going to be like wearing a smartphone. That's what it's going to be at the end of the day. And, you know, and as our technology keeps advancing and we're using our smartphones for more things, you know, we're going to be able to make the calls on the fly. People are going to see what we're doing, you know, as we're walking down the street, pulling up our GPS, looking at photos. If we're not distracted enough already looking at our smartphones, now it's going to be right in our eye.
And Google Now is going to be, was like the first step. Because I can definitely see Google Now integration being thrown into this. Obviously in a different UI, but...
So now, do you think this thing's ever going to get down to a consumer point anytime, you know, that we're going to be able to afford this stuff?
At least 2014. And they never did say what was in it.
No.
I mean, we don't know if it's got Galaxy Nexus hardware inside there, just really shrunk down. We don't know if it's as powerful as even, I mean, it would seem insane, but who knows? It could be as powerful as the Nexus 7 for all we know. I don't know. It's hard to say. It could be as powerful as a G1. Who knows? I don't know. So they never did say what was in it.
A G1. That would be an issue. That would be a Google fail.
Right now, it wouldn't be an issue because all it does is streaming video, and it doesn't even do streaming video. They said there was a rig hooked up to it so it could stream. So right now, all it does is video and take pictures, and that's it. There's nothing special. There's nothing amazing going on right now, so a G1 would be very possible right now.
That's a little scary.
I mean, that's now. Like you said, 2014.
That's ways off.
At least in a year and a half from now, and that's only going to be beta.
I want to see GoPro pick up a pair of these glasses and see what they can do with it. That's going to be some exciting stuff. You see people just Shaun White wearing a pair of these fucking things, going off a half pipes. Badass. That's what I'm talking about.
I think by next year they're going to put them on celebrities. Can you imagine going up for a three-pointer or something, or not a three-pointer, a slam dunk, wearing Google Glass, or
oh hell
like
yeah,
you said,
man.
Shaun White, put them on, give them to Tony Hawk. I mean, that would get definite media coverage.
Absolutely.
He's wearing Project Glass and he's going up for the thing. I mean, they could put him in a pair of safety goggles.
Yep, definitely.
And they would be safe. And I mean,
NASCAR, sure. Sports would be a great thing.
Yeah, NASCAR would actually be really good, especially if they installed a microphone in it. Can you imagine giving it to all 100 racers in a NASCAR race? Instead of talking to their pit crew on headsets, they'd talk to them in a Google Hangout, and you could see exactly what they're seeing.
Yeah, there's definitely lots of potential for those things. I mean, just sharing with your friends what you're doing. You're out at the zoo, looking at some animals, talking to your family half across the world, seeing exactly what you're seeing while you're on vacation or something.
The irony would be as if it never made it to a consumer level. If it just ended up being a Shaun White project or a Tony Hawk project or basketball, football, things like that, and it just never made it to a consumer level. If they just always put it on that level.
I think they got a lot bigger plans for that. I think it's how quickly it develops is going to be one of the key things. But I think when it comes to Google Glasses, we're talking about the future. When we get there, that's another thing.
I've kind of put it out of my mind. I think about it every now and again, but knowing that all it does is take a picture and video right now,
you were thinking about
developer units are $1,500. I mean, it was pretty impressive, and I thought there was a small chance we could see them as part of our swag.
I squashed that idea on you.
Oh yeah, you were right.
I killed
you were right, because I mean, if you think about it, how many people would have poo-pooed it so badly?
Oh yeah,
people would have crapped all over that idea. All it does is take pictures and video, and it's glasses. This is stupid. I expect a GPS by now.
They have to have a complete product that's run real smooth. Otherwise, like you say, everyone's going to crap on it, and it's going to get totally, no.
Imagine that one guy from Rolling Stone. He would have been very upset by that.
Mike, I think you were traumatized by that guy from Rolling Stone.
It blew my mind.
You told me about like 4 or 5 times about this guy from Rolling Stone.
I think he's angry. He's angry that he was there.
I think he was getting a lot of attention, and Mike was feeling left out,
I'm Droid Mike. He's just Rolling Stone somebody.
He's not even going to report about Android.
Yep. Must have just hurt my feelings something fierce, cause I guess we're unraveling things here today.
So, we lost Justin there for a minute.
No.
He'll
be back.
He'll be back. Okay.
Part of the Google Plus or the Google On Air experience, I guess.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't me.
Yeah, you're the host.
Yeah, if the host disappears, the show has abruptly ended, and we won't be back. But anyways, so today we got the 4.1 source code out. What's going to happen with that for the viewers at home that are seeing these announcements? 4.1 source code's released today. Woohoo! What the hell does that mean to the average Joe out there? What does that mean?
Basically, that's just kind of saying that it's the upgrade. So far, it hasn't amounted to much. They just put out the code for the Galaxy Nexus, all versions. Kind of, a lot of Verizon fans are excited about that, because that means Verizon will be getting the 4.1. However, it is limited to whenever Verizon lets that happen, whenever T-Mobile lets that happen. Actually, I think that the T-Mobile version might be coming from Sprint or from Google, based on that it's a Google device.
We'll start seeing some ROMs dropping.
Oh, for sure. ROMs, and for those who don't know what that is, basically it's just a modified version of Android that somebody else has worked on, not Google. It's based on what you would receive from over the air, but it's a specified version. There's already let's see, I believe there's already a couple of Verizon Galaxy Nexus ROMs, T-Mobile ROM or two for the Galaxy Nexus. The Nexus S has a hacked-together port that now works completely.
So a lot of OEMs already had the code already, and they're starting to work on them already.
I actually think the OEMs got it today as well.
Wow. So the ROM guys and the OEM guys, they got it at the same time. So
I could be wrong, but I think they might have. I mean, certain ones probably got it because they're more partnered with Google
so maybe
and
we'll
Android, but I don't know which ones that is.
So in the next few days, we should start hearing news about when they're going to start at least making plans to drop Jelly Bean updates coming out,
I'm sure there will be leaked documents that have come out. I don't know if we're going to hear any official plans from anybody, especially since the Nexus S duo, the GSM and the Sprint, or I guess in layman's term, the AT&T, T-Mobile, and Sprint versions are discontinued now. So,
what do you how do you think the rollout's going to be on this? We always have
Galaxy Nexus is probably going to get it. Well, Galaxy Nexus already has it. If you're the GSM version. I don't know how they're going to treat the Verizon Nexus thing though.
What about the rest?
Or the Sprint Nexus.
What about besides the Nexus line? We get tons. Oh well, welcome back, Justin. Sounds lost some power.
Had a little power supply problem, yeah.
Okay. We're just talking about Jelly Bean getting dropped onto other phones here. So I was asking Mike, when do you think we're going to start seeing some of these rolling out? We're at ice cream sandwich right now is only on 10% of the phones out there right now. Today it was announced only 10%, and that's ICS. So how's this rollout gonna
From what I read, it's actually supposed to come to the Nexus 7 very soon.
The Nexus 7 already got Jelly Bean, Mike.
Well, I mean the new. There's 4.1.1.
Oh, the updated. Oh, I'm talking about just like normal phones and stuff, like the Razr Maxes, the Galaxy S2s, the Notes,
I think they've got to hit ICS first, and then we'll worry about Jelly Bean after. I don't think there's...
Isn't that kind of crazy?
It's a little of a bit of a nuisance. I know that people that actually know what I'm talking about when I say these words are a little bit angry. But if you think about it, I don't think a lot of people are going to care. I think they're going to start...
I care.
Well, I know you care, but you're not normal. You are the editor of an Android site. You definitely know what's going on here. Whereas my dad didn't even know Google Now was coming out, and when I told him, he was kind of like, "Oh, well, maybe it's time to upgrade my phone then." And so he kind of got excited about the idea.
Is that what these OEMs are hoping for? Is that these people update their phones, instead of waiting for the updates? Is that what happened? And and then the few people that do complain or hold on to their handsets that long eventually get the update.
Let's put it this way: there's 400 million activations as of 2012. 600,000 of those people use CyanogenMod. So put pen to paper and figure out those numbers. I don't think a lot of those people are going to care.
No. But in terms of, because we're going to get these questions. We're going to get these questions for the next 6 months. When's my phone getting Jelly Bean? When's my phone getting Jelly Bean?
Mm-hmm.
We obviously won't have the answer. We won't know any more than them because as soon as we hear about it, we push it out. But what do you think on a time? Are we going to be lucky to see, Jelly Beans for Christmas? Do you think?
Galaxy S3 is supposed to get it by the fall because it already has ICS on it. I believe you are going to need ICS on your phone before you can get Jelly Bean. So 4.0 needs to be on your phone before you can get 4.1. I don't think there is any sort of upgrade you can do from 2.3 to 4.1. I don't think it's possible.
So there will be no skipping of this update for OEMs that are planning on doing upgrades.
I mean, I could be wrong, but I feel like the framework would be kind of big. I mean, it's kind of a big update, and it adds a lot of different things. So I kind of think you need the 4.0 base to be there. Maybe I'm wrong though.
So what can be a little bit scary about this whole upgrading situation sometimes is that we're looking in the fall to candy cane or key lime pie or, shortbread, cookie. Who knows what's coming in the fall? And we all know that there's something new coming in the fall because of the Android upgrade cycle. Guys are still looking for ice cream sandwich, and then the jelly bean, and then there's
that
whatever's down in the pipeline coming up with those new Nexus phones.
That may not be this year. They may skip to the spring or something just because we did just get Jelly Bean 4.1.
I was thinking about that, Mike, but on average, you see Google usually, for their manufacturers, their OEMs, they like to have that new shiny operating system for CES and stuff like that to help them sell their new phones, right? Or the launch of their new Nexus devices.
Yeah, 4.1 is still going to be pretty quote-unquote shiny by then. I mean, there's not going to be a lot of change, and I don't think 5.0 is going to add that much UI differences as well. I mean, it won't be that dramatic. In fact, I can see a 4.2 by Christmas, not a 5.0.
Do you think there was enough in Jelly Bean to let them roll for another year on Jelly Bean, honestly?
Well, it doesn't have to be, like I said, 4.2 doesn't have to be Jelly Bean. It could be the next K lettering scheme. And still add one major firmware update, much like Google Now was a firmware update of sorts.
I think I'm going to have to disagree with you on this one, Mike. What do you think about it, Justin?
I think that we might be able to see some minor updates as well. I mean, I would have said 20 minutes ago that, yeah, we'd probably see 5.0 by Christmas because that's what we've seen, the past couple years. But after hearing Mike give his opinion, I think that he might technically be right. I mean, 4.1, it's here. It's middle of July. 3 months down the road, it's going to be close to Christmas time. I mean, what was the next? Nexus 1 came out, I think, towards November. I mean, or was it just recently the Galaxy Nexus? I think that came out in November. I think it was the Galaxy.
I think they actually both came out in November.
But, I mean, so in 3 months, 4 months, we're going to see, 4.1 to 5.0. It just seems like a bit of a leap. It'd be awesome. But I think they hit the nail on the head with 4.1. They don't need to do a lot of UI changes. I think it looks really good. It runs really good. People are going to be happy with it when they start receiving. I don't think they need to make that leap. And it's like you said, there's only 10% of users on ICS as it is. How many people are going to have to be force-fed into that software update before they get to be able to have Jelly Bean? And then they're going to kick all those people out and say, well, you don't have ICS yet by December or by November or by January, so hey, we're rolling right into 5.0. Screw you guys. I mean, what's that going to do to the consumer base? They're going to be a lot of pissed off people.
They're definitely going to have to slow things down because
no doubt.
If they don't slow it down, if they do go to 5.0, we're going to be in a world of hurt because we're still going to have guys on gingerbread that are like, I'm 2.3, what's this 5.0 garbage?
We still have people on 2.2. I mean, working in a cell phone store, coming from somebody who's working at a carrier, we still have a couple of 2.2 devices on our shelves. It's, they're the minority at this point, probably 1% of the smartphones we sell, but they're still there. I mean, I still sell a couple of 2.2 devices, and it's, that's alarming for me to see at this late in the game. We've got ICS out in 4.1, and we still have Froyo that I'm selling.
I think the better question is how many people you see probably coming in that have Froyo devices that are trading in because the 2-year cycle has ended. And I'm sure with AT&T that's definitely the case because AT&T had all kinds of devices that were, garbage devices a year and a half, 2 years ago, that are now finally just getting rid of them because their 2-year cycle has ended. I mean, the backflip, that was 2 years ago.
That was a terrible phone.
That's scary. Yeah,
It was terrible, but it was it was their mid-grade phone for the time. It was the phone they were plugging because they supported Apple so heavily back in the day.
Sounds like we're
good.
Sounds like we're definitely due for some fragmentation hell if they drop another OS coming
If we
this
hit
fall.
5.0, we will be in deep trouble.
But you know what? The more the merrier. I'm not going to complain. If they want to keep upgrading like crazy, okay.
Well, as long as they push it to the Nexus devices.
Buy a new device. No one's forcing them to buy new devices, to have the latest and the greatest.
I'll keep upgrading to Nexus devices.
Yeah. Let's hit on a few quick notes here, just some news there. Verizon was at it again with their Galaxy 3 delay. I don't know why they're being delayed. Probably their software again, locking their bootloader up again. Are they never going to learn? They seem to be the guilty ones.
I feel like Verizon had it right. November 6th. Let's see, what would it have been? November 6th, 2010. No, November 6th, 2009 when they released the Droid 1. That was the only time they've done anything right.
Well,
they got the Galaxy Nexus.
That
was
They still maimed that a little bit with playing with the Google Wallet and messing around with some of the software on there and delaying.
Didn't they put a couple crappy Verizon apps on there? It wasn't quite a pure experience.
Yeah.
There's crappy Verizon apps on all their phones. That's what keeps it Verizon.
Yeah, but I mean there was no on my Nexus S from Sprint. I don't believe I got any Sprint football apps or Now Connect or whatever garbage. I mean, there's a Sprint section where I can download those garbage apps, but they didn't come pre-installed.
You know what the worst is that they talk about how they have the standard of excellence and customer experience and stuff like that, and they don't want to unlock their bootloaders and it's just the same song and dance and I think hardcore Android people realize that it's just a line of BS. Sounds like they tried to pass the buck onto Samsung today. We all know it's Verizon. They're just really tight on their network, and they really want to, be the dictator as to what goes on their phones. And I think, that obviously is going to come back on them with who's going to be signing up for their phones in the future because of it.
Yeah, but in the next year, T-Mobile and Sprint will be getting a decent LTE solution, and
Really?
AT&T's will be better. So I mean, they won't be the top dog anymore for LTE, and they definitely won't have all the impressive phones. AT&T has the 1X exclusive. T-Mobile's got some really sweet phones right now still, and Sprint still has the unlimited data plans and some pretty sweet phones as well.
They still got to work on their networks, though. I mean,
they're not strong, but
have their great networks. I think Sprint and obviously T-Mobile. I just took a trip down to El Paso, and I can tell you my T-Mobile service was shoddy at best.
It was begging for some forgiveness, huh?
It was. I mean, literally, I mean, there's a lot of dead spots going through deserts, through Arizona and Texas, on any network. But we had Verizon in the car. We had AT&T in the car. It was just horrible. It was horrible. And and in the city, I'm impressed. But when you get outside of the city,
you lose it.
It's not reliable. Anyways, let's move on to another one. That's talk for another day, reliability. But today also you had the UK High Court dismiss the Apple claims. The Galaxy Tab does not infringe on the iPad. Finally.
That's a long time coming.
Blind, deaf, or dumb, or stupid, or doesn't own iPhone, I think.
Is that a sticking thing though, or is that just a UK thing? Is Australia still
It's a win.
in trouble with that?
Wherever we can get a win.
Oh, it's definitely a plus.
Sorry, Mike, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, it's definitely a plus because the UK is a big territory. I know a lot of a couple of our guys actually have some Android phones, of course, and some Android tablets, and et cetera, and they're big users of them, so, that are in the UK, I should say. So it's definitely a big win if you wanted a tab.
Well, it seems like in the UK there's a judge who wasn't as dumb as some of the American ones. I won't get into naming names. But there was one interesting comment that said, the court ruled that it can't be infringing because it doesn't look as cool as an iPad.
So that's their claim.
Whatever that means.
I think it was just a user or something.
But anyways, so that it's always nice, we got to talk a little bit once in a while about those wins, because Samsung and Google and Android have been getting hammered hard by this patent troll Apple. So whenever we can get a win, we got to celebrate victory.
Woo!
Right on. So and one other last thing I wanted to hit up here as a quick topic is we got the Kindle 2 coming. We'll talk more in the next coming weeks, but they're talking about possibly 4 different models.
Aren't
crazy.
Aren't they trying to come out with a phone too? Amazon trying to push out a phone?
They're trying to come out with a little bit of everything. They're talking about a 7-inch Kindle Fire with one with no camera, one with a camera with a different resolution, another one with 4G. That's kind of weird. Wonder who they plan on partnering up with.
Yeah, I'd say AT&T.
The thing with that is, unless they forked Android and have updated that fork. Well, I mean, unless they've updated the fork and updated the UI on it, it's always going to be an e-reader with tablet features.
Well, that's exactly what it is in my mind. I mean, it's a huge e-reader. There's Android is on there. It's great that they sold some whack load of these that penetrated some of the market, took some away from Apple, but the experience on it is horrible for true Android fans. I had a sister-in-law who has the Kindle Fire, and and her kids are playing with it, and we're like, we can't access the Android market. What's wrong? How do we fix that? How do we get around that? Even there, they don't even know it, and they want a true Google experience. It's just something they're not getting. But either way, with possible 4 new devices, a phone, they're looking to make a serious dent. And obviously, the Nexus 7 was, kind of a direct competitor of this. Is Google trying to slow them down, you think?
I think they're getting a little bit nervous, per se, of what's going on, because initially it was kind of like, it's an Android tablet, cool. And then it really just blew the doors off of the barn, so to speak, because it just caught fire, I guess.
Literally.
Yeah, literally, it just went crazy and went insane. And I kind of think they went, it's not really an Android device. They're not really billing it as an Android device. And it doesn't run true Android, so we probably should put something out to combat it.
So the Nexus 7 and the Kindle Fire 2 are obviously going to be direct competitors.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully the big dents they're going to make are going to be against the iPad. But there's definitely going to be some fight between these two, Well,
I'm sure the Kindle app...
power, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm sure the Kindle app on Android's Nexus 7 tablet probably won't work as well as it does on the Fire. Just the reading capabilities, they'll probably make it so it's more of a bare bones thing, so you don't want to buy the Nexus 7. You'd rather buy the Kindle Fire so that you have all their stuff there going on.
So Kindle's going to have...
It's going to be hard.
Kindle's going to have an 8.9 inch with a 1920 by 1200 Q4 Christmas time. I think Google's going to beat them to the punch with their and the Nexus device before them.
I think the 10-inch tablet's the rumored November device. And it'll probably be running Android 4.2.
And how do we know it's not even already there? I mean, they might have it waiting and just need to put on some last-minute touches, you know?
Yeah, for all we know, Samsung or Asus or somebody's got one in production.
So now that we've seen the Nexus 7,
now that we've
seen the Nexus 7, how does Amazon Kindle top that?
They'd have to add in some more space, more camera. I mean, things that people...
They're going to have to go hardware-wise.
I think so. I mean, not only, but those are definitely things that while we've touched that it doesn't necessarily make a huge difference to the average consumer. You know, the things that they go and they look at when they buy devices are what kind of camera does it have? What kind of storage space does it have? I get those questions all the time. People come in and look at phones. What's the size of the camera? Well, the camera doesn't matter so much as long as it's got a good screen. But does it a megapixel? No, it's got a 5. I don't want it. But the screen on this is better, and it'll take better photos than that 8. I still don't want it. You know, it's like they care about camera size and camera quality and storage space. How much? I get that question a lot as of late, which is weird. You know, 6 months ago, I'd tell people about storage space and like, why does that matter? And nowadays, I don't talk about it at all. And people are like, I need 8 gigs of storage. Does it have 8 gigs of internal storage? My son's phone has 8 gigs of internal storage. If it doesn't have that or more, I don't want it. I'm like, what are you going to use it for? Email, and I might browse some web once a week. And you want 8 gigs of internal space? I need it. I mean, it's nuts. That's what people are wanting. So I could see people wanting larger storage and more camera quality stuff. And
yeah, that would definitely be a way they could. That would definitely be a way they could trump over Google. Is if they came out on stage and was like, okay, it's got 32 gigs of internal storage. You wouldn't need it though, because you have the Amazon Cloud that does all your music. You have the Amazon Cloud that does all your pictures, and you have the Amazon Cloud that holds all your books. Yeah. So really, you just have 32 gigs of internal storage, not playing games, because it's not going to be able to do that very well.
So then you know, if they go with the upgraded specs, then that means a higher price point. So they're not going to be.
Doesn't have to be.
Well,
they can do exactly what Google.
You know, Google sold theirs at cost, and if
they could do exactly what Google's doing.
So if they're going to try and outdo Google, then obviously they're going to have to, you know, increase their specs, which means more expensive parts, which means a higher price point, which means less competition because they're putting out a more expensive product.
It'll be $199.
$199.
They will have.
And it'll be better than the Nexus 7.
Yeah. I just don't know how it would be, because we've got a better browser in Chrome that syncs with all your other Chrome stuff. We've got more games on the Nexus 7. We've got, you know, a full Google experience, Google Now. I mean, I'm not going to be able to pick up a Kindle Fire and be like, hey, where's the Nexus, or where's the closest store to me where I can buy beer or something? It's just not going to be able to do that. You're going to be like, okay, well, it's time to fill up the book.
That's what you're using your Google Now for, is to search for beer stores, Mike?
That's what I'm searching mine for.
The irony is I don't even drink, so yeah, it's weird.
Picking up beer for Justin, that's it.
Yeah, I mail it to him.
Well, we're definitely going to have to see. I mean, obviously one of the biggest things that people don't like about the Kindle is the forked version of Android. So they're going to have to really come up with something special in order to put a dent in the...
They could fork 4.1, because nobody said they couldn't.
Well, that's, you know, obviously they're going to have their Kindle worshippers following it, but true Android fans probably are not going to return back to a Kindle Fire when they could have a Jelly Bean.
The only thing that's a bonus benefit of this is if they do end up making something crazy with the Kindle Fire that's just insane and completely forked and a whole different UI and does all kinds of awesome stuff, is it could lean towards what you could do with the Nexus Q. You know, it's kind of like, okay, here's this beautiful UI that Amazon created. It does a whole different thing. What if somebody was able to do something like this for the Q? Create its own UI, create its own thing. I mean, that's one of the things the Fire could do for us and show what the Q could do. But it's hard to say.
Well, we'll have to see. As I'm sure we'll be talking a lot more about this over the next coming weeks as the rumors start to fly fast and furious for this.
Yeah.
Now, just to wrap up our show, I would like to throw out a feature. We're going to, have some new fun features that we're going to do every week after we're done talking about topics. And this week we're going to go for apps. And this week I wanted to focus in on the cool app of the week. And this one actually comes via my niece, because she was playing on her Android smartphone beside me, and she was playing Temple Run. Addictive, mega hit. She was having lots of fun. I was surprised. She's like, 22 years old, playing a game, girl, and I was like, wow, you found that on there? And then I started playing it. It was pretty good. I don't know if you guys have you guys had a chance to play with that at all?
Yeah, I've played it. Played it many a time.
It's a little addictive, isn't it?
It's pretty addictive. It's definitely, it's fastly took my attention away from Angry Birds and some other games for a little while.
Explain the premise to me and the rest of our followers that haven't played it.
Give them a quick update, Justin. Tell them how.
What's the rundown?
So basically, you play this little guy that looks more or less like Indiana Jones. He steals this golden skull, if you will, much like the Crystal Skull, which was a terrible movie, by the way. And he runs. He runs away from the temple. So he's escaping like Indiana Jones. They clearly ripped him off, but it's a good game, so don't let it deter you. You have many twists and turns you got to take. You can swipe up to jump or swipe down to slide under trees, and you've got gaps to jump over, so you could, if you don't jump at the right time, you could fall in a pit. You've got these crazy gorilla monster-looking things chasing you, and
Mike, are you downloading it yet?
You could. He's getting it right now. He's actually playing. He's watch his face. He's gonna be like, ooh ah.
Ooh ah. That's the last we heard from Mike.
You can get power-ups, so you
can
run faster. You collect coins to buy power-ups. All kinds of cool stuff. It is a pretty cool game. They also just dropped Temple Run Brave, so for all the younger crowd out there that likes Disney movies and whatnot, Brave came out.
Crowd.
It's kind of.
I like Disney movies. Come on.
We know,
well,
Mike. We know.
Either way,
and all that.
Brave came out. Temple Run paired with them, much like Rovio and Angry Birds Rio. So kind of a cool little spin-off of the original Temple Run, except this one you've got some girl that shoots bows and arrows. I'm kind of intrigued to pick that one up and test that out, because it looks pretty cool too.
It sounds like you've already tested it out.
I haven't tested. I watched a video. I haven't played it yet. I'm eager to play it.
Sounds like it, buddy.
Well, it's kind of interesting, because it looks like Temple Run is done by Imangi Studios, whereas Temple Run Brave is, I don't know if they got the source or what, but it's labeled as being from Disney.
Yes.
So I kind of wonder if they partnered pretty deeply.
I smell a patent lawsuit coming.
Well, it sounds like they partnered really deeply with them, because it says right in the description, from Imangi Studios, the makers of Temple Run, and Disney come a new take on the most exhilarating app. So in a way, it's almost just like they labeled it as Disney just so you could find it when you were searching for other Disney content.
Well, I got another app I wanted to talk to you guys about.
Hold on, one second.
Oh, sorry, Mike.
Hold on. Well, I just wanted to mention that Temple Run is free.
Yes.
And Temple Run Brave is 99 cents. So both very good price points.
Thanks
and
for that.
At free, I didn't mind if I downloaded it or not. So I just downloaded Temple Run.
Okay. Thanks for adding that in.
Good info.
Oh, what the hell is that jelly bean?
Okay, guys. Now here's my fun part of the week. I was waiting for this stupid app of the week. There are so many dumb apps out there sometimes. It's like, I can't believe this is in the market. And, you know, I just love to talk about these because maybe these guys are going to get rich from us talking about them, or they're going to realize how stupid their apps are. But this one here caught my attention because it's called Beat Your Boss 18 Plus. How that just seems wrong. It just seems wrong.
I don't know what it even means.
It's kind of a ripoff of Whack Your Boss. Have you seen that one on there?
No.
It was really popular on iOS.
Hold on just one second. What were you doing searching for apps about whacking your boss?
They're right in the. I'm not searching. They're right in the top. They're right on the top of the list. If you go through the popular, they're at the top, paid and top free. I mean, they're towards the top. It's insane how many people download these.
What does that say about people these days in general? That Whack Your Boss is a top app. Okay,
a lot of disturbed people out there. That's no other way to vent out their frustrations, I guess.
I thought Beat Your Boss was bad. There's Whack Your Boss, Beat Your Boss. Whack
Your Girlfriend. They got tons.
I'm gonna have to do some more research and see how many more boss-killing apps are out there, and we're gonna have to have a top 10 killing your boss apps list out there, so you can find out which are the best apps
which are the best ones
your boss with. I mean,
I blame Horrible Bosses. It was a good movie, but clearly it's gotten some people on the wrong foot.
Obviously, there are some bosses out there doing a bad job that people have to make up these applications to kill their bosses, beat your boss, whatever it is. This is pretty sad. I think people should be playing Angry Birds or something instead of beating their bosses.
Moral of the story is, all bosses need to send their employees to Google I/O, and they wouldn't have to play these games.
Yep.
Exactly. And then you call them a nice boss, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously we have a lot of anger management issues among the Android users that we have to download these type of applications and take our frustrations out on our smartphones rather than having communication in the workplace.
Yeah.
That's just sad. One of their other games by these guys who the makers of this game, which happens to be running game team, Devil Barber. That's just like right up there with something I want to play right away.
Oh. There's
a bunch of stupid ones.
So that is our stupid app of the week. It's Beat Your Boss, 18 plus, because obviously kids shouldn't be beating their bosses. Only adults should be. Don't download it. It's poor according to reviews. Laggy.
3 stars.
The game sucks. Bad graphics. Very gay weapons. Other than that, it's perfect.
Yeah.
So
other than just about every foreseeable flaw out there, it's
exactly.
perfect.
It's got like
they haven't
star from 2,000 people, so it's doing well.
So they have a game that is a Angry Birds idea with the Zumba gameplay, it looks like.
Yeah, they're very creative. I noticed that.
Zuma, that's what I mean.
All right, Mike, we got to get going here soon, so I want a couple more things before we wrap up. I want to give away a Samsung Galaxy 3 case.
Case.
That's right.
Let's make sure we know that it's a case.
Case from Cruiser Light.
Phone not in the case.
No phone included, just the cases. Now, if you go to cruiserlight.com, if you want to buy your own case, instead of winning this one, you can do that too. Good old buddy Scotty Brown is running the sales over at cruiserlight.com. They have lots of cool cases, T-shirts, and plushies over there, and they're supplying our cases. And if you want to take a look at it, I don't know if you can see that too well. They have a nice Android on the back. Maybe I'll hold up my phone and let's see. There you go. Check it out.
Cool.
That's a really nice looking. Now if you go on their site, just to give them even a bigger plug, they actually have a lot of really cool designs. I didn't pick out the ones with the cool designs for the giveaways because everybody has their own personal taste, so I kind of stuck to one with colors. But they're really good, high quality cases, and the Droid on the back, can't go wrong with that. And they're priced reasonable at the same time. So there's their plug for giving us some cases. And if you'd like to win one, send us an email to androidheadlines@gmail.com. The first 2 people to email me will win GS3 cases. You may not have the phone yet, but you can get a case. So
that's all the inspiration to get one.
There you go.
And also, if you'd like us to read, if you have any questions, tech questions, or anything like that, feel free to email us, androidheadlines@gmail.com once again, and we'll be reading some viewer emails on the air next weekend. So feel free to email us, whether it be a tech question, something stupid, fun, some question you've always wanted to know, like why the sky is blue, whatever it be.
If you ask a funny enough question, maybe we'll ask Google Now your question and see what Google Now says. It doesn't necessarily have a personality, but it may have the answer.
That's how we should do the contest. We should see if people can come up with questions, and the first person to write us a question in the email that they give that Google Now answers with a voice should be the winner.
Sounds like a good plan. How about we'll do that for next week's contest? Mike, we got something to give away next week, don't we? Maybe
yes, I have two. I have an Android Motorola robot.
Don't tell them yet. We'll have them tune in next week to win something from Motorola.
I don't have anything, but you'll be surprised at what it is.
Okay.
It's a poster.
All right, so
or something.
Mike Corbett, Justin Diaz, Chris.
I got one little quick thing I want to say about this. You keep throwing that little Android in front of the camera. It's for the viewers out there. It's those little containers. It's a candy container they gave away at Google I/O. Various shapes and colors. So they did red, blue, green, yellow. It holds jelly beans. And just for people that might be trying to attend next year's I/O conference, be wary of going through airport security. They were a big security risk.
I didn't have a problem with mine.
Those look very dangerous.
Maybe it's just because I stuffed 3 into my bag and I had a ton of them with me. I hoarded a lot of them.
Android bombs, is that what you were trying to tell us?
They were real weary, and it actually, they pulled my bag aside, and so they stopped me and they're like, "We need to check your bag," and so they take the bag away and they're like, "Go ahead and come over here when you're ready." They start
had heroin in there?
pilfering through, and he's like, "What is this?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay, it's jelly beans." And he's like, "All right, well, I'm gonna have to take this out." He's like, "There any more?" And then I'm like, "There's 2 more." So they take it out, they take it over to the scanner, and then they bring it back. And moral of the story, short and short, it ended up really they were worried about the Nexus Q and not the jelly bean containers. But the jelly bean containers tipped them off that there was something in the bag that they should look at. And so
I knew it was the Nexus Q.
The Q threw everybody off.
My Nexus Q and my Chromebook.
Nexus Q. There's something. It's like Big Brother's watching you. I think Google's watching you through the Nexus Q.
It's actually
connected
to my computer right now, and so they're recording our podcast as we speak.
Well, then we don't have to.
I hope they are. That's what we're doing here.
Google is watching it. It's hitting the
Please
server.
catalog this.
All right. Thanks a lot for coming on the show, guys, tonight. Next week we're gonna have a few new guys from our team on the shows. Every week there's gonna be new guys, new guests, crazy stuff going on. So make sure you tune in to the Android Headline Show, AH Show, every week. It's gonna be lots of fun, and I think for our first show we did a pretty good job. And thanks a lot, guys, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
It's good to be here.
In the meantime and in between time, that's it for AndroidHeadlines.com.
Signing off.